precursor. I have not been feeling particularly well this week. Should be fine, just in case. Okay. So this is gateway activity for a unit that I've designed on salaries, the giver. So we'll start with a little background on who I'm working with. It's 8th grade, and it's a humanities block. So it should be 2 periods of social studies and ELA, which is integrated together. My mentor teacher prefers to keep them separate, so the first hour is dedicated to English language arts, and the second hour is dedicated to social studies, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that's the reality of the situation. Olympic View Middle School is a Title I school, and 43.5% are free reduced lunch. A little breakdown of the racial background of the school. It's mostly Caucasian, 60%, 20% Hispanic, 12% Asian Pacific, and 11% Asian, which is more than 100%, so I can assume that some students identify with more than one racial background. So this was just a little added interest that I was fascinated with this, but this is so this blue outline is Mukilteo, and this shaded area is the neighborhoods that feed into Olympic View Middle School. So Olympic View is right here, and the other middle school in Mukilteo is right here. This map doesn't really mean much unless you know Mukilteo, and I'm from Mukilteo, and I happen to know that the wealthy areas of Mukilteo are a little bit right here and right here. So there's this really interesting thing going on, and this is Harbor Point. So Harbor Point is all of the wealthy neighborhood, and there's even some kids from that are closer to Harbor Point than they are to OV that are being fed into Olympic View. So it's just some weird school politics. But the disheartening thing is that the kids really pick up on this. They know it, and you can even see it at the high school level. There's Mariner, which OV mostly feeds into Mariner, and that's the kind of poor school. And then there's Kamiak, which Harbor Point feeds into. And when I was in high school, I remember one particular instance, and the Mariner girls' homecoming week, they put on these shirts that said, "My daddy didn't buy me this t-shirt," and the Kamiak girls retaliated and said, "At least I know who my daddy is." So there's a lot of this, and the kids, they all pick up on it, and it's this really interesting clash of culture. There's about 15% of OVs fairly wealthy, and then 85% that is not. And you can see the tension in class. I have seen a lot of bullying issues in the 4 short weeks that I've been there. I was telling Kelly earlier that my first week I saw a kid pour a bowl of spaghetti into another kid's backpack, kind of a nerdy kid that loved to read. And so OV knows this is a problem, and they have all these anti-bullying posters all over. They use a lot of the Kid President posters, which is adorable, but I don't know how effective it is. So that's sort of the classroom culture that I'm in right now. So the unit is on the giver, and I have a little spiel from the back of the book here. Just go through this. And if you haven't read The Giver, here is the spiel from the back of the book. It's a pretty quick read, so if you want to read it, I think I read it in one night. But this is what it says. Jonas's world is perfect. Everything is under control. There is no war or fear or pain. There are no choices. Every person is assigned a role in the community. When Jonas turns 12, he's singled out to receive special training from the giver. The giver alone holds the memories of true pain and pleasure of life. Now it's time for Jonas to receive the truth. There's no turning back. So the big themes in this unit are nonconformity, memory, and identity, which I've sort of summed up here in a sentence. But the central questions that I want kids to really grapple with are the roles of memory and identity, and how conformity influences our personal identities. And my hope is that this unit will be focused enough on nonconformity and identity that it will help to address some of the community issues in the class and some of the bullying problems that seem to be prevalent every day. So these are the standards that I'm hoping to address. There's 4 of them, which are quite a few, but some of them I input because my mentor teacher really wants to show the film. So naturally, it would be best to have a film comparison. And of course, analyzing particular lines of dialogue and how a story propels action. Discussions are kind of the heart of this unit because I really want to work on the community aspect, as I've said before. And I wanted them, because there's this highlight on memory and its importance in personal identity, I wanted students to have an experience writing narratives from their own lives that help to propel this idea of identity. So that's the standards, and this is the how. So this is sort of the unit at a glance. It's literature circles, mini lessons, reading support activities, cumulative writing assignment, that's the narrative, and then various assessments, exit tickets, stop and write, so kids are having discussions and I ask them to stop and write to sort of inform me what they're getting out of these discussions, and then pre and post assessments on the more concrete literary elements that they'd be discussing. So that's the how. And this is that unit introduction. So this is the first day of the unit. Discussion is sort of the standard that this focuses on. But I have my gateway activity, which I'll explain further. A mini lecture on utopias and dystopias, a group pop culture reference brainstorm. So kids are really doing, I know that's really wordy, but kids are doing a lot of dystopian literature reading, and they've watched a lot of movies. I think these kids just did these book trailers is what they call them, and about 50% of my students either did Divergent or Hunger Games. So they're all really into this dystopian literature thing right now. So we do a brainstorm there. We create an anchor chart on the perfect society. So kind of coming up with these ideas about utopian society and what it looks like. And then because there's this community issue and this respect issue, I want to have some really explicit instruction on literature circles and what those should look like. So dystopian literature, like I already said, these students are really into dystopian literature. It's popular. In terms of prior knowledge, dystopian literature is there. They can identify themes and pick out details that propel the theme. They've been working on that a lot in class. And literature and film comparisons, they've been watching a lot of movies in class, I've noticed. And there's a little bit of an issue here where they haven't necessarily been debriefing after watching the film of a book. So there's a lot of just movie watching right now, which could be improved upon, but they do have the skills. I know that they've been working on it, or I've been told that they are. What they need to work on, literature circles, like I said, explicit instruction. I want to do a few community building activities, things that are non-threatening, and then of course their narrative writing techniques. They recently wrote an essay on a book called The House of Scorpion, and it didn't go so well. So I think they need some very explicit instruction in narrative writing. So this is the gateway activity.